Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut this stylish blouse with a collar. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to mark out my basic measurements. After that, I marked my shoulder divided by 2 plus half and I went down by 1 inch. And I'll be connecting these to draw out a shoulder slope. Next, I'll mark my chest line. To mark my chest line is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 and I'll rule a straight line at that point. After that, what I have at the shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2, which is 14 divided by 2, I have 7 plus half. I'll mark it at the lower part and go ahead to draw a straight line. The next step is to go ahead to divide this into 2 and I'll mark. Come in by ½ inch. Now at the chest line, I'll go ahead and mark my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 33 divided by 4, I have 8.3. I'll go ahead to connect from that point to the ½ inch and to the upper part of my pattern. After I'm done marking that, I will go ahead to mark my dart, and to mark my dart, I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2. I'll mark it all the way to the lower part of my pattern and I'll place my ruler connect to draw out a straight line. So next, I'll be marking a dart intake of 1 inch at both sides. So if you're plus size or you have a bigger bust, you'll be using 1.5 inches. And after marking that, I'll draw a straight line. I'll place my ruler and I'll draw a straight line connecting all the way to the lower part of this pattern. And I'll also go ahead to draw out the straight line at the other side. Next, I'll place my curved rule, connect from the bust to the under bust, and also repeat this at the other side. After I'm done marking this, I'll just go ahead and use my marker to outline this to make it more visible. After I'm done outlining my pattern, the next step is to go ahead to mark the princess dart effect. So I'll place my tape and fold it into to get the mid part of my armhole, and I'll place my curved rule and I'll go ahead to connect. So after I'm done connecting this way, I'll go ahead and mark ½ inch at both sides of my pattern, and after marking that, I'll go ahead and I will connect it down to the main line of the first line that I drew out at the armhole, and I'll use my marker to outline it. After I'm done outlining it, I'll go ahead and extend the dart at the armhole by 1 inch at the lower part, and I will reconnect it. That is the ½ inch that I took out on both sides. So I'll take my curved rule and I will place and reconnect. After reconnecting, I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline that. So the next step I'll take is to insert my body measurement. I'll mark the bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake, replace and add my sewing allowance. Mark my under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake and replace, and also add my sewing allowance. So at the waist, I'll mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add my sewing allowance. At the lower part, I'll mark the hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake and add my sewing allowance. So after this, I'll just go ahead to use my ruler to connect my pattern. So after I'm done connecting my pattern, I'm going to go ahead to use my marker to outline this part to make it more visible for you to see. So after I'm done outlining this, I'll go ahead and replace this same measurement I have on this part of my pattern, and I will be tracing it out on the other side of my pattern, and then we'll go ahead to alter the dress. So after I'm done marking this out, this is what I have. And for the neckline here, I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches at this point, and then I'm just going to go ahead to come in by 2.5 or 3 inches by this side. So after I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead, place my tape and extend by 7 inches, and I'll place my curved rule this way so that there won't be too straight, it will be slightly curvy, and I'll extend this side to the other end of my pattern paper. So after I'm done extending it, this is what I have for the neckline, and we'll go ahead to work for the lower part of the pattern. But first, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline. So the total length of the blouse I'm making is about 27 inches. I'll place my tape and mark 6 inches all the way from the lower part and extend it all the way up. Now blend in this side and I'll extend this to the other side. Come down by 5 inches here and mark. So from that 5 inches, I'll go out by 1 inch or half inch, and then I'll extend that side. Then go ahead and remark here and make it a little curvy. After making it a little curvy, I'll come down by 5 inches here, come out by 1 inch, and I'll reconnect. After I'm done reconnecting, I'm just going to go ahead to blend in this part, and then I'll slant it all the way to the lower part of this pattern. So after I'm done drawing this, I'll just go ahead to use my marker to outline it, and after this we'll go ahead to cut this out. But before cutting out, I'll go ahead and mark my bust dart of 1 inch. So to get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist at the front and your shoulder to waist at the back part. So my shoulder to waist at the front is 17 inches, my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5 inches. I'll just go ahead and mark this out, and then I'll be cutting this off. So if you have any question regarding this tutorial, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up also, and also leave your comment at the comment section. So after cutting this out, we are going to use this to cut out the back pattern, especially the neckline. We are going to make reference to that. So I'll go ahead and I will continue cutting out my pattern for the front. So after I'm done cutting, this is what I have for the front pattern. I will move over to the back. So for the back pattern, I've gone ahead to mark out all the basic measurements just like we did in front. And if you notice, for this back pattern, I didn't add a zipper allowance, so we will be adding that much later. So from here, I'll mark the nipple to nipple divided by 2 just like we did for the front, and I'll go ahead to mark this. So for the dart intake, I'll mark ½ inch on both sides and I'll come down by 1 inch. Go ahead to connect this and mark, and also mark at the other side. So here I'll come down by 4 inches and I'll go ahead to connect. After I'm done connecting, this is what I have, and I'll go ahead to use my marker to mark this out. So after I'm done marking out, next is to insert my body measurement. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4 and add my sewing allowance. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake, I will replace it, and I'll go ahead to add my sewing allowance at this point. So I'll measure 5 inches from the waistline, and I'll draw out a straight line because the side stopped at 5 inches. Now at this point, I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4, add my sewing allowance and extra 1 inch by this side because that's what we did for the front pattern of the dress. And then I'll just go ahead and connect from the upper part of this pattern to the lower part. After that, I'll just go ahead and I'll cut out the rest of my pattern. After cutting this out, we're going to go ahead to also mark out this measurement at the other side. So this is this part, and I've gone ahead to mark out the measurement, and I'll just trace out the excess I have at the lower part, open it up this way. So now we're going to make reference to the neckline in front of the dress because you have to use that neckline, if not it will not match what you have at the back pattern of your dress. So what I will do now is I'll go ahead and place this. So I forgot to cut out this part from the front, and I'll just cut it out and I'll place the front neckline. So this is the front part. Let's say the part that has the marker on it is the front part of the material, and the part that has marker at the back is the front part of the back. So I'll mark the neckline I have at the front and the neckline I have at the back. So I'll just go ahead and trace it all the way down, and from this side I'll come up by 1 inch from my chest line, and after that point I'll just go ahead and connect this other side. So if you notice now, the zipper is no longer at the center. This is why I did not add a zipper earlier. After this, I'll just go ahead and draw out a straight line at this point. So after drawing out the straight line at this point, I'll just take out the front pattern and I'll divide the armhole in front by 2, and I will mark. That is the half of my chest line, which is 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5. I'll mark and then go ahead to reconnect it. This is to create a princess dart effect at the back of the dress. And after I'm done connecting this, I'll go ahead to reconnect the neckline and the zipper area of the dress. After I'm done marking this out, I'll just go ahead to cut this out. I'll cut out the back pattern before we go over to the front pattern also to cut out the collar of the dress. So I'll be using the front pattern as an illustration. On how to cut the back collar also. So I'll just go ahead. After cutting out at the back part, so when you place your pattern on each side, you'll be adding 2 inches or 1.5 inches for your zipper allowance. That is when using this pattern to cut out the back, you just add your zipper allowance in front of this part. So after that, we'll bring the front part and we are trying to trace out the collar. So you're going to place another pattern paper on top of your fabric or pattern, and remember the neckline is coming from inside out this way. All you're going to do is after tracing out, you're going to add about ½ inch, and at the upper part the collar is a bit high, so you just place this and then extend it all the way to the other side of this pattern this way. Remember the collar cut across the other side, and I'll just go ahead and mark this out. After marking this out, I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So now this collar at the front, you're going to be extending it to the back pattern. After tracing out the front collar, you trace out the back collar, merge it together, and then you're going to be sewing it as one piece. So I'll be doing an illustration on how to cut out the front. So after cutting this out, I'm going to go ahead to work on the other side of the collar. I'm just going to place this and trace out the shape I have there. So the neckline there is not so slopey as the other one. All you have to do is cut out and you place. So exactly what I did for the front is what you're going to do for the back, and you're going to merge your collar, the one from the front and the one for the back. You're going to merge it up as one piece and then place and attach it to your dress. So after cutting, this is what the front looks like. So for the sleeve of the dress, it's just a basic sleeve, and I have tutorials on how to cut out a basic sleeve on some of my videos. So with this, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. Please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and join us in our next video. Thanks.